Very good afternoon. This is Dr. Rajarao PBV, working as Assistant Professor in CSC Department. Respected convener of this Faculty Development Program and HOD of CSC Department, Dr. P. Kirnasri Garu, respected resource persons and all the participants present over here. I welcome you all to the fourth day session of FDP, 1 week national level online FDP on societal applications of machine learning. I am very happy to introduce our resource person, Dr. M. Purushothama Reddy sir, with the topic online fraud detection and stock marketing. Dr. M. Purushothama Reddy Garu received a PhD degree in computer science and engineering from JNTUA Anantapur in January 2019 and MTech from JNTUA Anantapur in January 2010. He is currently working as professor and head at IT department, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering in Hyderabad. He has been working in IARE since 2018. He has more than 16 years experience in teaching and 6 years of experience in research. He has published 22 research articles in leading journals, SCI, Scopus Index, conference proceedings, and 4 textbooks. He is also received outstanding contribution to education from ISTE India in association with Chandigarh University and Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India. He has conducted various FDPs, conferences, workshops, and national webinars as a convener and coordinator. His current research interests includes image processing, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science. Thank you, sir, for your gracious presence for this FTP. I am handing over this session to Dr. M. Purushothama Reddy, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Please share your screen, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will share, sir.
Please.
Good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon to Kirnasri sir and other participants. Myself, Dr. M. Purushothama Reddy. I am the professor and head of the Department of Information Technology at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Today, I start the session on this topic, online fraud detection and stock marketing using machine learning. First, here, so many years, we see that the fraud has been a major issue in different sectors like as banking, medical, insurance, stock marketing, and different other departments. Nowadays, that increase of online transactions through different payment options is available, such as credit or debit cards, PhonePe, GPay, Paytm, etc. So this online transactions increases. So automatically this online frauds also increases. Nowadays, the fraudsters or criminals, they have become very skilled in finding how to escape.
Reddy garu, are you changing the slide, sir, or you're in the first slide?
First slide, sir.
First slide, okay.
Yes,
go
sir.
for the presentation mode, sir. That will be better.
Already that is in presentation mode, sir.
Okay, sir. Please proceed then.
Yes, sir. Already that is in presentation mode, sir. And also nowadays the fraudsters they have different skills how to loot money from different customers. So and also up to now finding this fraud is a challenging task for providing authentication and preventing customers. That is also a challenging task. So nowadays this machine learning it's very useful to find the fraudsters, and also we can easily provide authentication and preventing customers from frauds. Also, we can easily done by using this by using this machine learning. Now, what are the types of frauds? Nowadays, we have so many different types of frauds are there: email phishing, payment fraud, document forgery, and identity theft. Email phishing. This is a fraud or crime wherein attackers send fake sites and messages to users or customers through email. These emails generally appears like as legit and authentic, that anyone can misjudge them and enter the vulnerable data that put them at a risk. The best way to prevent these type of emails is to avoid enter the vulnerable data in this emails until whenever we verify that credentials of that sending person. And also another best way is to simply we ignore the type of mails. Whenever we simply ignore the type of mails, there is no chance to phishing that our valuable information. And also another best way is here we use the filters. Whenever we use the filter, that filter that data the data is categorized into which is useful, which is not useful. We see only the data which are in our mails, only useful mails only we can see. Only we ignore the information which is not useful. We ignore that one. This is another way to prevent from this email phishing. Just another one is payment fraud. These type of frauds are very common nowadays. Nowadays we do all card payments, and also we use different types of payments done by using this phone pay, Paytm, all these things. Now fraudsters generally they steal our cards, and also they make counterfeit cards, steal card ID, etc. Depending on this user credentials, they can
Sir,
they can
Purushothama,
apply.
Purushothama, sir, still you are in the first slide, sir, because we could see only
Second
the
slide,
first
sir.
slide.
This is in second slide, sir.
But we could see only the first slide, like online fraud detection and stock marketing. That slide only we can see.
Yes, sir. Sir, again, I will stop sharing and then I say.
Then you share the entire screen, sir. Then it will be useful.
Sir, entire screen I said, sir. Actually.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Again,
Yes.
I will say. Now, sir.
And now the slides are moving, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, now so slides are moving, sir.
Yes. I could see types of fraud, something like that. Yes.
Yes, sir. And I moved next slide, so that is also shown, sir.
Yes. Now
sir,
we
okay.
can see only types of frauds only, email phishing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now that is not moving, sir.
After that, nothing was moved actually.
Why is
We
that?
could see only types of frauds slide only. After that, there is no movement in the slides.
Again, I will see, sir.
Now the slides are moving. Like,
Moving, sir.
just it moved like unsupervised something came.
Yes, sir. Now, sir, moving, sir.
Now we could not see any slides, like nothing was
Again,
shared.
come back to types of fraud, sir.
Yes. Better like you share again, sir, the entire screen, that will be useful. Now we could not see anything.
Now, sir.
Now we cannot see your screen, sir, actually.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. I will check.
Please share it again.
Now, sir, types of frauds is there, sir?
Yes, sir. Types of frauds I can see. Can you just go to the next slide, then we'll see whether the
Now,
slides
sir,
are
manual
moving.
review on
Ah,
transaction.
yes, yes. Manual review on transaction rules. Yes, yes.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Now you can proceed, sir, please.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Okay, sir. Next one is identity forgery. Nowadays, the criminals and fraudsters can buy our ID proofs from different organizations, and they try to enter our. They try to take our IDs, and that IDs they can use in different places, and they make the cheating. So this is also done by different foresters, and as this type of thing is called as ID document forgery. How to prevent this one means by using machine learning algorithms. We use different data sets in that machine learning algorithms, and we can easily find this type of forgeries. This last one is identity theft. Attackers or criminals can hack into their victims' accounts and gain access to their credentials, such as name, bank account details, email address, passwords, etc. They can use these credentials to cause harm to their victims. There are different types of identity thefts is there: real name theft, account takeover, and synthetic theft. These are the different types of thefts is there in that identity theft. Next, manual review on the transaction rules. Nowadays, this machine learning in artificial intelligence resolves most of the issues that human beings find difficult to deal with. Previously, industries were using that rule-based methods for detection, but due to the popularity and acceptance of this artificial intelligence, nowadays all organizations they use this machine learning for finding these frauds by using rule fraud detection with the help of machine learning. This rule-based approach or traditional approach in fraud detection algorithms, how they use in previously they use this rule-based and traditional methods in fraud detection. Now the algorithms generally written by fraud analysts, they are based on strict rules, and are also if any changes have to made for detecting a new fraud, then they are one manually either by making changes in the already existing algorithms or they create the new algorithms. In this approach, with the increase in the number of customers and the data, human effort also increases. So the rule-based approach it's a time-consuming process and also it's a costly one. Another drawback of this approach is that it is more likely to have give false positives. If it is more give false positives means we lost that original customers of that particular finance system. Next one is machine learning based fraud detection algorithms. So in this machine learning fraud detection algorithms, here the algorithms cannot recognize in rule based algorithm. The algorithms cannot recognize the hidden patterns, and also since they are based on strict rules, they cannot predict fraud by going beyond these rules. But in real world, fraudsters are very skilled and can add it to new techniques every time to commit to a crime. So we use machine learning for detecting a fraud. Here a machine tries to learn by itself and become better by experience. And also these machine learning algorithms, first they take the previous data and also they train the data, and depending on that experience, it can easily find the fraudsters. And also these machine learning algorithms they use two different types of machine learning models. One is supervised model, another one is another unsupervised model. Supervised learning used in fraud detection algorithms. So how to use the supervised learning in fraud detection? Supervised learning models are trained on given tagged outputs. If a transaction occurs, it is tagged as either fraud or not fraud. Large amount of such tagged data are fed into the supervised learning model in order to train it in such a way that it gives a valid output. Also, the accuracy of the model output depends on how well organized your data is. So depending on our given data, it finds that one. Next, unsupervised learning using in fraud detection. Unsupervised learning models are built to detect unusual behavior in transactions, which is not detected previously. Unsupervised learning models involve self-learning that helps in finding hidden patterns in transactions. In this time, the model tries to learn by itself, analyze the available data, and tries to find the similarities and dissimilarities between the occurrence of transactions. This helps in detecting fraudulent activities. So both these models, supervised and unsupervised, can be used independently or in combination of combination for detecting fraudulence in different transactions. This what is the need for machine learning in fraud detection. So human beings are always search for methods or tools or techniques that reduce the human effort for performing a certain task efficiently. So this machine learning algorithm is the best one for that process. So machine learning algorithms are designed in such a way that they try to learn by themselves using fast experience. After learning from the fast experience, the algorithms become quite capable of reacting and responding to conditions for which they are not explicitly programmed. So next one. So what is the use of machine learning algorithms in fraud detection? So here, so many factors are there. Why you use these machine algorithms for finding fraud detection? First one is speed. Machine learning is widely used because of its fast computation, and also it easily analyzes the data and also extract new patterns from it within the given time. For human beings to evaluate the data, it will take a lot of time, and also evaluation time will increase with the amount of data. So we use this machine learning. Nowadays we can widely using this machine learning.
Sir, Dr. Purushothama,
sir,
we could see the types of fraud slide only.
Yes, sir. But I have 10 slides, sir, actually.
Yes, I understood that you are just going ahead of. Now you could see machine learning in fraud detection.
Okay, sir. Whenever I put this one in presentation mode,
what actually happening was, I think the presentation mode is not coming. We can see other slides also.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
That may be the problem. Please.
Next, scalability. As more and more data is fed into the machine learning model, the model becomes more accurate and effective in prediction of frauds. So nowadays we can use this machine learning algorithms. And another one is efficiency. Machine learning algorithms performs the redundant task of data analysis and try to find hidden patterns. With these three reasons, nowadays we can use machine learning everywhere. So machine learning, it can easily find the fraudsters with a fast computation, with the scalability, and effectively find the fraudsters. So nowadays we can use this machine learning for fraud detection. Next, machine learning system, how to work for fraud detection. Generally, this machine learning algorithms, generally it feeds the data. First feed the data, after that one it extract the features. First here, the data feed into the model, the accuracy of the model depending on the amount of data on which it is trained. whenever we give more data, it gives them better performance. So whenever we give more data, that means more data we will give for training, then only it gives the better performance. And also it can easily find the fraudulent sources. Next, extracting features. Feature extraction, it basically depends on extracting the information of each and every thread. A thread associated with the transaction process. These extracting features depending on identity, location, mode of payment, and network. Generally this identity parameter, it is used to check the customer's email address, mobile number, and other details. And also it can check the credit score of the bank account if the customer applies for a loan. So depending on that one, it checks the identity of that customer. And also location. It checks the IP address of the customer and the fraud rates of the customer. And also the shipping address of the customer, it checks. Next, mode of the payment. It checks the cards used for the transaction, the name of the card holder, card from different countries, and the rates of the fraud of the bank account used. All this it checks. Network. It checks for the number of mobile numbers and emails used by the customer within that network for the transaction. It checks all these things. Depending on that one, it evaluates that the transaction is fraud or not. Next, training algorithm. Once we created a fraud detection algorithm, we need to train by providing customers data so that the fraud detection algorithm learns how to distinguish between fraud and genuine transactions. Next, creating model. Once we have tried our fraud detection algorithm and a specific data set, we are ready with a model that works for detecting fraudulent and non-fraudulent transactions in our given business model. The advantage of this machine learning in fraud detection algorithm is that it keeps on improving as it is exposed to more data. There are many techniques in machine learning used for fraud detection. Here we'll discuss only some of the techniques. The first one is techniques of machine learning for fraud detection. This one, the first one is fraud detection machine learning algorithms using logistic regression. This logistic regression, it is a supervised learning technique that is used when the decision is in the form of categorical. It means that the result will be either fraud or non-fraud if a transaction occurs. Now here we see, here we'll take one use case. That use case is let us consider a scenario where a transaction occurs and we need to check whether it is a fraudulent or non-fraudulent transaction. There will be given set of parameters that are checked, and on the basis of the probability calculated, we'll get the output as fraud or non-fraud. Here we see in this diagram, the input data is given to that model, and also in that model it checks identity, amount, location, and frequency. Now here we see that first here in this above diagram, here we see that the probability calculated as 0.9. The probability calculated at 0.9 means 90% of the 90% chance is there, it is a genuine. Only 10% chance is there, it is a fraud transaction. Next one is fraud detection machine learning algorithm using decision tree. Now, these decision algorithms in fraud detection are used where there is a need for classification of unusual activities in a transaction from an unauthorized user. So this decision tree generally used whenever there is a requirement of classification. So in that situation, only you can use. These algorithm consists of constraints that are trained on the data set for classifying fraud transactions. And also here we see one use case here we discussed about that one. So let us consider a scenario where a user makes transactions. We will build a decision tree to predict the probability of fraud based on this transaction we can make. Here we see that here first here we see that the decision tree. Here we will check whether the transaction is greater than 50,000 or not. If it is yes, then we will check the location where the transaction is made. And if it is no, suppose we assume that if it is no, there will check the frequency of the transaction. After that, as per the probabilities calculated for these conditions, we will predict that the transaction has fraud or non-fraud. Here, if the amount is greater than 50 and location equal to the IP address of the customer, that means the condition is yes. There is only 25% chance of fraud and 75% chance of non-fraud. Similarly, here we see that the amount is greater than 50,000 and the location value is greater than 1, then there is a 75%. That means that condition is no. No means 75% chance of fraud is there. The location is match, not match, and 25% of chance for non-fraud. And also another case here we see that if the amount is not greater than 50,000, and also again we'll check here that the number of locations at the same time is greater than 1. In this case, if this condition is yes, 75% chance is there for fraudulent source and 25% chance for non-fraudulent sources. So in this way, we use this decision trees. Next, another one is fraud detection. Machine learning algorithms using random forest. Generally, this random forest uses combinations of decision trees to improve the results. Each decision tree checks for different conditions. They are trained on random sets and based on the training of the decision trees. On each tree gives the probability of the transaction being fraud or non-fraud. Then the model predicts the results depending on that one. Now here we see one use case. Let us consider a scenario where the transaction is made. Now we will see how the transaction goes on and also how to find the fraud detection by using random forest in this use case. Now here we see that here all data is there. Credit card number, credit or debit card numbers are there, and also location, date and time, IP address, amount and frequency, all these values are there. Now here we see that when a request for a transaction is given to the model, first it checks for the information like as credit or debit card numbers, location, date, time, IP address, amount, and the frequency of the transactions. All this data set first fed as input into the fraud detection algorithm. Then this algorithm selects variables from the given data set that help in splitting up the data set. And also here here we see that first this credit card or debit card number is split as one decision tree, and also next it split location as one decision tree, date and time as one decision tree, IP address as another decision tree, amount as one decision tree, and frequency of transactions as another decision tree. Like this, it divides all these trees. Now all these trees are subtrees of these original data. And now it checks after it checks each and every subtree. So in this subtree, it checks and also it finds the probability of the transactions to be fraud or non-fraud. So it finds probabilities of each and every subtree. And also after that one, we combine the probabilities of all this one, we say that find the original tree probabilities. So depending on the original tree probability value, we say that how much percentage there may be a chance the transaction will be fraud or non-fraud. So in this way, we find the fraud detection by using this random forest algorithm. Next one, fraud detection machine algorithm using neural networks. So here we see that how to use these neural networks to find fraud detection. Generally, these neural networks works like as a human brain, and also these neural networks here we see that generally we use this one in deep learning with the different layers for effective computation, and also it also uses in a cognitive computing that helps building machines capable of using self-learning algorithms that involve the use of data mining, pattern recognition, and natural language processing. And also these neural networks, it is trained on data set, passing it through different layers, at different layers also it passing through, and also several times it evaluates that value. It gives more accurate results than other three models, as it uses cognitive computing, and also it learns from the patterns of authorized user behavior, and also the distinguishes between it can easily distinguish between fraud and genuine transactions. Now here we see that now we'll discuss the use case, how it works by using these neural networks. Here we see that one. Now we'll look at an example where a neural network is used for fraud transaction, and also we can easily find that a fraud detection by using neural network. There are different layers in neural network that focus on different parameters to make a decision whether a transaction is fraud or non-fraud. Now in this below diagram here we see that this is a neural network which has different hidden layers. Now here input layer is there, hidden layer 1, 2, hidden layer 2, hidden layer 3, hidden layer 4, and output layer is there. Now here each and every hidden layer will check one different types of conditions. Now here at hidden layer 1, we check the identity of the customer. At hidden layer 2, we check the amount of the transaction. At hidden layer 3, we check the location of the customer. At hidden layer 4, we check the frequency of the customer. Now here we see that first we fed the data of the customer, and also after feeding the data of the customer, we train the model. After training the model, so first fed the data into the model. After fed the data into the model, we can train the system. And also here we see at hidden layer 1, the identity of the customer it checks. At hidden layer 2, it checks amount of the transaction. At hidden layer 3, it checks the location of the customer. At hidden layer 4, it checks the frequency of the transactions. There can be more specific parameters is there. We can increase that number of hidden layers. These individual layers work on these different parameters, and also computation is done based on models, self-learning and past experience to calculate the probability for detecting frauds. This neural network works on the data which we fed and learn from that one, and it improves the model's performance over every iteration. And also these neural networks are used for implementing fraud detection algorithms. And also this neural network, first year, suppose we fed one customer data, first it checks the identity of the customer. Depending on the name, mail ID, phone number, depending on the values, it checks. If identity, so here, whenever it checks the identity of the customer, if it is yes, the identity of the customer is satisfied. Next year, it checks the amount of the transaction, how much amount the customer make the transaction. And also next it checks the location of the customer. So that location, if the location matches, and also frequency of the transactions, also it checks. If it also matches, then only it say that it is a non-fraud transaction. If suppose in any case the identity of the customer is not matched, then it simply says that it is not a it is a fraud transaction. It is not a non-fraud transaction. So suppose if the identity of the customer is matches, but the amount of the transaction is not matches, in that case also it says that the transaction is a fraud. The location of the customer, suppose that location of the customer is greater than 1. In that case also it gives that chances of fraud, that percentage of chance, how much percentage chance is there, it is a fraud transaction. That is that given as a output by this mode. So depending on frequency of transactions also, it can decide whether the transaction is fraud or non-fraud. So in this way, we use machine learning algorithms to find the fraud detection in online transactions. Thanks to everyone.
Dear participants, if you have any queries, please unmute yourself and ask.
నా దగ్గర లేదు అది ఇది అని చెప్తానంట.
Participants, any queries?
Sir, I am Jay Gauri here from Bangalore. I have a query, and it is a very basic query, like how to decide about how many hidden layers and how many elements in the hidden layers, sir.
So depending on our given data, madam. So if you fed the data, in that data we have different fields. Depending on that fields, we decide that number of hidden layers. Suppose in our data you have different 5 different fields. If there means we will take the 5 hidden layers. At each and every hidden layer, we will check one condition.
Sir, input based on the number of input layers neurons and output layer neurons are decided, but this intermediate layers only I have a doubt how to decide.
Here at intermediate layers, here we'll check one condition, madam. Here input layer will give all this data, madam.
Okay.
And also at each and every hidden layer we'll check one field, madam. Suppose at one field we check the customer ID, at another field we check the amount of transaction, like that we'll check.
Okay. So here we have a 6 inputs, whatever you are showing here in the fourth slide of fraud detection machine learning algorithm using neural network. 6 inputs are there, so 6 number of neurons in input layer. And in the hidden layer, it is only 4 hidden layers we have.
Here I will show only that is an example, madam. Generally, depending on that fields, we decide that number of hidden layers, madam.
Oh, okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
afternoon, sir. This is Dr. Charu from Noida.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, sir, thank you so much for telling us about fraud detection. I just want to have a simple query. Like you have illustrated fraud detection using neural network. We can also solve it with the help of a logistic regression or
Yes,
random
yes.
forest. So
Yes,
how to identify that if I have, if I have to want to apply a fraud detection technique, how to select which machine learning algorithm would be better in which scenario?
So depend. Already I told that, madam. Generally, this neural network it uses whenever the data has more number of fields, madam.
Complexity is more.
Complexity is more number of fields is there. In the situations, we'll use this this neural networks, madam.
Yes, sir.
Generally, this random forest
Yes.
we will use whenever the data has complexity of categorical data. The data,
Okay.
the data
If the data is
categorical data.
categorical in nature.
Yes, madam.
Okay.
So the data is very simple in categorical data. We'll use logistic regression. So like that, we'll use, madam.
Okay, depending upon the data set which we are going to.
Data set, madam.
Okay, right. Thank you, sir.
Participants, any queries? Thank you so much, Dr. M. Purushothama Reddy, sir, for giving
Thank you,
us
sir, to give this opportunity from your side, sir. Thanks to the Kiran Sri, sir, once again. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.